Time is quickly running out, and so are those auto qualifications to the grand finals by winning a game. I want to say this is going to be the easiest way to get into the grand finals, but from what we've seen so far, the battles that are going on the high ground, the destruction that happens down below, it looks far from easy.
Once again, the battle in red line rig. Merstash Malabuka up against Aqua and Noah. Game one, this engagement ended quite quickly, but in the most previous or the most recent match, they actually didn't even end up fighting each other. They took some shots in the early game, but kind of both went their own ways further on. So we'll see if there's a repeat of that or not. Meanwhile, Clement and his duo partner, they want some action.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily fight it out early in that last game, but maybe a different drop right off of the spawn. 1v2 opportunity. Thinks he has the upper hand. Pistols a couple shots in there. And he gets both of those eliminations with the pistol, essentially, in the Thunderburst.
What a good way to start off the match. 2 quick eliminations to continue forwards. But we saw that's not going to be enough, Jacob. We've had players with 7 eliminations before still be below the Storm Surge threshold. So the job's not done. They're just getting started.
Ooh, that's tough. You really don't have any builds to hold the wall. Your teammate's already trying to heal. That was actually played picture perfect for him to get not one, but both of those eliminations. Swizzy and Podesai uncontested yesterday, running into numerous opponents here over towards Mount Olympus. They're trying to use the zipline to their advantage to break through those builds, but he just took too many shots repeatedly from both Swizzy and Podesai. I like the effort for thinking outside of the box, trying to innovate there, but just didn't work out for them.
Mount Olympus, if I'm not mistaken, was going to have 3 duos contesting each other. I'm not sure if that trend's going to continue throughout the whole day, but Swizzy and Podesai was one of the duos that was going to be dropping there. Flixie Vico, we saw their domination on the high ground in the last game, but it was alongside multiple duos that just wanted a piece of that high ground. Mini was saying, we're not going to have any changers, although there was so many duos contesting height in these recent matches. He thinks it's going to stay the same. I think that's true. I mean, we've seen how powerful it can be, but when you have so many duos going for it, I mean, the past 2 games have been won by that duo on low ground that decided to take it a bit slow, so I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, a little bit of a different approach overall, and that's kind of the mix-ups that you're seeing for Vico and Flixie. I wouldn't necessarily be too worried, because if this trend continues, even if they don't win a game today, you got to think they're a lock-in through consistency tomorrow. It's 2 different opportunities, uppers and lowers, to make that happen. And Malabuka and Merstash back on over towards red line rig. You see a third team slowly but surely moving up in the distance, and that team knows this is contested. They also know that the medallion has not been grabbed yet. You still see it there on the mini-map. So they're just gathering some intel, information. What they do with that information might be a whole different story. It's all about how confident they feel.
Yeah, do they know that both duos, Noah and Aqua and Malabuka Merstash, are still incredibly healthy? They might be thinking, hey, could be a little scuffed, but as you can tell, Noah taking some shots that connected, but also being on the receiving end with just 9 HP. What a headshot from his opponent. Malabuka gonna use this to capitalize on the situation, playing aggressive now. All it's gonna take is a solid push, but Merstash, what's gone wrong? He's been knocked down. Malabuka with a quick trade. It's a 1 versus 1.
Hey, this is a winnable
Noah
fight.
versus Malabuka. It's doable, but the issue is the third party, it's gonna come through.
Yeah. Even though they did take some damage, they're slowly but surely moving in. The 2v1 is going to be secured. But now he has to worry about getting Merstash back. And with all that fighting going down, you'd think Haijo and Kaido might move into this location, especially if they see the names in the feed, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Instantly are trying to close the distance. This could be a very disastrous situation for Malabuka to be in. That's why you see him quickly trying to disengage, but he gets cut off on the other side. They're trying to go and cement him in, sandwich him, and just take out every opportunity for him to try to escape. And I think this is where it might come to an end, because it's almost due or go down. He tries to get the crash pad out, and they get shot out as well, so they're not going to be able to follow as close.
I don't think they even know where Malabuka is. Look, Haijo's looking at the wrong direction here. Has Malabuka done it? Not missing a single edit, crash padding himself out to safety. Look at the mini-map though, Jacob. There's another duo that wants to be invited to the party, as Malabuka is now making his great escape. 2 eliminations on the board from Aqua and Noah. He got the reboot card, I believe, so all he really has to do now is play it slow. He even has 2 med kits. You can see bandages in the surrounding area, so more than enough time to play zone here and recuperate the HP that he's already lost. It's going to be a slow early game, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah, you add in the fact that it was Haijo and Kaido that moved over from where he's going to now. So in theory, there's no team there. And the 2 that might rotate in that direction, Yanis, Pixie, Cool, Voltiax, they're both uncontested. So they're probably looting up their drop spot. Maybe if they hear the reboot, they'll begin to kind of maneuver over in that direction. But only time will tell. Vanyak and Swizzy trying to get out of that southern side of the map just a little bit earlier than we've seen in games past. They're adapting as each and every one of these games go on.
Switching on over to Podosai and Snazy. Pop shots back and forth is what I'm seeing here. A lot of duos in the surrounding area of Mount Olympus, so you don't want to play too aggressive. Even the disengagement coming through.
Yeah, with 2 elims so far. I can't imagine it's a massive amount of surge due to it being an early game fight, but it's definitely enough to give them the confidence to kind of loot up, be more flexible in this early game. Kiddo and Nevs first from the lower bracket. A destructive powerhouse showing off his prowess yet again, taking down both Nate and Slove. And that's Nebs that's going to get the other one.
Quite a lot of aggressive starts to this match compared to previous ones. I wonder what is causing that exactly. Thomas and Queasy too have not been having the best day so far. Getting eliminated a lot right before the end game begins. Seen Queasy playing solo, Thomas playing solo. Focus been on them. Hopefully this time around, RNG can be a bit more on their side.
We see how quick, we were talking about it throughout the day, how quickly they rotate out of classy courts to try to get in a position to the south side of the map so they can go ahead and try to grab some sort of a cactus position for one of those surge bases. And luckily for them, it's a rotation that's going to work out for them tenfold because now the zone is moving towards the south this game. So not only do they get the surge, the position that they want, they're going to be ready for the next couple of zones.
I'm wondering where zone is going to end up pulling. Like we saw the effect, especially on this season. When zone pulls south, the amount of damage you have to do is significantly higher to if it pulls north. So these duos that are capitalizing on the cactuses earlier on in the match before the zone continues to pull further from them will have the advantage in terms of how much damage they're able to do.
Yeah, the zone moving over in this direction. The 2 elims with the surge that they got in the early game. They're just making sure to farm up. I think you mentioned it earlier, some of these walls, the amount of material they actually get for them, 9, 11, 13. So it is going to take them quite a long time to find a farm up. But even then, there's not a lot of metal. There's not a lot of wood in this direction either. So as soon as they kind of feel confident enough with the amount of brick and the material that they have, they will try to move over and grab the next. But Firen's there. His teammates just a little bit too far away, but they just basically know that we have eyes on you. We know you're there, and every move that you make is going to come with a little bit of risk.
Red Edge and Radion. Brutal beachhead. Uncontested drop spots have been quite beneficial throughout this weekend. I mean, every single match in these upper brackets, except for one, has been won by a returning duo that has been uncontested. We talked about it earlier as well. Cammy and Seti. The duo that's played the longest time together. Basically the most tournaments as a duo. I was thinking about other names, maybe like King Phaser. I don't know, on NA. But here we have Volko and Cringe in an intense box fight.
Yeah, and I like that Volko not getting greedy after firing the first shot. Holds the wall. Making sure to play safe. Not getting a little too overzealous, biting off more than you could chew in any one of these moments, and making sure that they own all the space. They do have the cactus that is in this location, pushing Dirty, Heine off of it. So even if they do continue this fight, Volko and Cringe will have the luxury to be able to trade shots and not have to use the resources in their inventory if they do need to heal up.
Look behind them as well for Nine and Della in their surge base with clear vision onto these opponents in the box fight.
Zone continues to move towards south. Kind of make a guess when I see Rift Island, but I do think we might have a Sandy Steps, Brutal Beachhead, maybe in a Red Line Ridge style zone. As Boko and Cringe continue to target out their opponents. They know they're weak. They're the ones who started this fight. There is a Nitro ring there, so they got to be careful for that team to disengage if they choose to follow. They at least got to have that decision in the back of their minds. And I do think they do. It's probably not worth the chase here, at least not just yet, knowing they got to rotate in a couple seconds anyway.
Looking at Swizzy, Vanyak, and Camiseti. Vanyak's been fully cracked. I assume he has a cactus, though, so... This is deja vu from last match. Same exact position. They can overpeak like we've mentioned previously and just heal up with those cactuses. So trying to do as much damage as possible here. Just kind of take shots, receive shots, take shots, receive shots, heal up. Nathan and CZB though, one of the most popular duos in day one. Second place on the leaderboard, not including the players that secured a victory royale. But today, I haven't seen as much from them. I believe CZB and Nathan are currently on the bottom half of the leaderboard today. 0 points after 2 matches. So hopefully they're going to be able to get a victory royale, because if they don't even get top 25, they won't make upper bracket tomorrow. They'll be stuck in lowers with just 3 matches as their only opportunity to make grand finals.
It's almost like opposites, Vico and Flixie and CZB and Nathan. CZB and Nathan, as the day started yesterday, they were performing actually pretty well. 3rd place, 4th place, a 9th place after, but those next 2 games, they slowly but surely kind of fell down. On the other side, 23rd, 15th, and then they started to pop off with the 6th, 9th, and 12th for Vico and Flixie. So if they can continue the momentum of where they ended in day 1, how they started here in day 2, I could definitely see them punching their ticket to the grand finals here today. But it's also another team you can't be too worried about, especially with how consistent they're playing.
Take a look at this. Malibuca's done it. Murstache did go down in the early game engagement, and somehow Malibuca escaped the pursuit of Haijo and Kaido. So now they're back in business. Ooh. 200 effective HP and shield. Rift Island in sight, very close to them. Let's see how this one plays out.
It's over towards Brawlers, so it should go towards the west side somewhere, whether it's south or north of that west side. We'll find out in the next couple of zones. We see how important it is for teams as they quickly go up towards that Rift Island. It doesn't give you points anymore, but you get a good amount of loot. You get Flowberry Fizz, you get that mythic hand cannon, which we've already seen since its inception that it can deal and pack a punch. Some players even opting not to take any sort of AR or scoped weapon because they deal so much damage, especially if you're one of those players that can hit shot after shot with it.
Making use of the materials on Rift Island. Always want to be doing something in these matches, whether it be farming, looking for tags, looting up, anything you possibly can. Chapantini. Once again, we know that they like to play for that forecast tower. Now, though, staying a bit further back in zone and seeing if they can continue getting tags. But 645, I wonder if there's any duos kind of semi-holding them or not. They do have the launch pad, so I guess they're trying to figure out if it's worth it or not with the amount of duos that know that they're going to try and launch pad. But take a look at this. Malibuca Murstache right back in action.
Yeah, they already got a knock on one. This is how you have a pick-me-up performance after what happened in the early game. They're 561 above the damage threshold. And they snatch away that body trying to get the loot. Let's continue to inch forward. They get the information where that player's at, but I know them. They're not going to get too greedy here in this situation. Fall back for the loot, reassess the situation before they continue to push forward in this game. And they have multiple options here. They have the Nitro rings all around, the rifts below the island, and if they're feeling daring enough, which you know they're one of the teams that will go up towards Rift Island eventually, they can use the launch pads up above.
See a quick replay of how Malibuca was able to close out this fight quickly. Nice couple shots connecting, just enough to take out his opponent. Yo-Yo and Ricky deciding to play kind of the slower route in zone, but they have just picked up a couple eliminations as well, so they have to rotate in now, though. Issue is, if you look at the corner of that zone, the edge of the zone, there are duos kind of based up, and if they're aware of the positioning, they could potentially look back at them as they try and rotate in. The good news, which could also be bad news, though, is that the zone has pulled away, so those duos on the edge will have to rotate in, but so will they from the zone. So it's going to be difficult either way.
Yeah, I think this time around it might be including just a little bit of Rift Island on the edge of zone. You're seeing a lot of players kind of wait to go ahead and use the Nitro Ring, going around and make sure they go the right direction as well. Just a little bit of a hiccup there, no worries. And this is going to ease the pressure of their rotation. See how quickly they're flying across the land. And they're going to even overtake a lot of teams on this rotation, which benefits them because now they're going to be able to look back, try to target out anybody that can. Gears and Charis are trying to do the same to them while they have that opportunity, because there's more teams that are following suit, 2, 3 more teams right behind them that they're going to have to worry about in mere moments.
Clock's ticking. Southern zone. 75 players are still up here in the 5th zone. Most of the danger from Storm Surge does come in 6th and 7th zone, though, so a little bit more time to think about it. You can see how big of a change there was. Nibs and Kiddo, what were they, like 420 above or something? And now instantly dropped to only 124 above. They've quickly positioned themselves around a cactus, though, so now they can go out, peek some opponents, and even if they get tagged, they can heal right back on up.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing they have to worry about is the team is below on Surge, boxes up next to them. And you see them trying to rotate on out. They make a quick pit stop before they make it to zone. And that's a good refresh because they're already on their way there. They have the Nitro because they went through the ring, so they don't have to waste any more of those resources. At least not for the next couple of zones. 74 above for Hedra and Kurwa. Not a full feeling of confidence, but at least they know they can get in the zone, focus on their rotation and positioning first before they're now forced to worry about that Storm Surge.
Just 51 above. Big pot is going to be put to good use here, as now they're going to have to start looking for tags. Although they're above, it's still a desperate situation, as you can see how fast it can change. Down to 3, back up to 40. You can see it's taking some opponents close by as well. This could be huge for Kirwa and his duo, though, because it might cause them to make some peaks, as Volko has been left alone. Now, this is not a position I want to be in. 360 below, not even in the zone yet. I don't know how you get out of this one, Jacob.
Yeah, that's just way too far below the threshold. You have a Cola, you have a Fizz. You literally need to make a highlight play if you're looking to survive this, which isn't going to be easy, especially when the one team next to you is Vico and Flixie, who quickly get on out with that Nitro Ring. Just got to hope that Cola is going to be worth it, because he's actively taking damage from Storm Surge, uses the Flowberry Fizz, trying to find anybody that he can, so that way he can try to push into their box. But even if it's one person, a solo, that's not going to be enough damage. He has to hope he gets the elimination, and there's a bunch of med kids and heals that get dropped because of it. Might as well put him on the clock.
50 players. Literally a timer ticking down for Volko here, unless he becomes the Terminator and takes out 3 players in a matter of an instant. But anything's possible. Pickaxe coming through, looking to connect an angle. It was on Thomas HD, but he's disengaging now. Volko, 1 shot away, 1 tick away from getting eliminated as he goes down.
I feel like that's been the story of like Thomas and Queasy. Either they're down on Surge or somebody else is down on Surge and goes and tries to fight him. Another example there as they fall 69 below the damage threshold. Forced to rotate, and they're one of the last teams to rotate in, and that's going to be beneficial because they land a sneaky shot onto Nathan, helping with their Storm Surge total. But you see it's not going to be a lot, which means they're quickly going to continue to fall down that threshold of Storm Surge. But luckily, they're going to be 44 above.
I don't even know if that's luckily, Jacob. Just a matter of time before they're below once again. And just like that, 7 below in an instant. Thomas HD forced into desperation once again, trying to connect the shot, but he does it. 207 above now. Queasy has been completely cracked, dropped down to, I'd say, less than 20 HP as they're forced to heal back up now and use the remainder of their shields.
Yeah, I think the thing they might be looking for is a cactus on the ground, anything that they can get their hands on, but blessings did come their way. Zone does pull in their direction. Half and half over towards Redline Rig, where a good portion of the lobby is already there, but most of the players still need to find their footing inside of the zone, and they need to do it quick because the sooner and more they fall behind, they're going to have to battle against every other player gatekeeping them out, and the zone that's going to start to hurt a lot of players.
Significant amount of the lobby has to rotate into Storm as well, or into Zone, better said. It's an East pull, going back to Redline Rig potentially. They have 1 minute now to make their rotation as Storm Surge for this 7th zone is activated once again. Even more damage has to be dealt. I like Chapantini's position, though. They have a great line of sight of the opponents in the surrounding area, even though they have to make a rotate now.
Yeah, 8 players need to go down in this zone, and then even after that, it's going to continue with 4 more, so you got to make sure you continue to stay above the damage threshold. Chap and Teeny, 116. They're focusing on their rotation. They do have the forecast tower, so that's leading a lot of their strategy and planning on these rotations.
80 above now. It's going down. That's Pohawa and Comeback making their rotation as well. Thomas HD and Queasy have been able to recuperate their shield. A little low on HP, but not too far behind on damage. A couple more shots is all it should take. Only 44 players up now.
Yep, you see a Flowberry Fizz being used down below. That's a sign of weakness. And one of the best opportunities they're going to get, but you see they're not getting over-aggressive. They're not tunnel visioning on this damage. They're experts. They've been here in this situation before, but they got to start to act quick. 111 below the damage threshold. That's not a position you want to be, especially now that Storm Surge is active and you fall in 116 below. Once that avalanche falls, it will continue to get worse and worse and worse. And now they've met against Podesai and Snazy. They're trying to get into the box with the Nitros, but there's just too much health on the wall. And now with Queasy going down, Thomas is it just a worse and worse spot.
Queasy went all in, but there's still 6 below. Thomas now is on the clock as Snazy's going to be the one to put it to an end. 6 eliminations for Snazy, but they're just getting started.
6 elims so far. Crash pad play already winding up with the Flowberry Fizz, staggering themselves long enough so that when they do make it onto the other side, the zone has opened up and they can quickly continue to move in position. Everybody else not having that easy rotation. You've seen a couple players going down on the side. Della's going to be left by himself. Even Swizzy and Vanyak in an exchange with one of them down to just about 50 HP. But Swizzy is trying to alleviate that pressure, push that team further and further back, buy time for Vanyak to heal.
This is 8th zone. We're going to move into moving zones here shortly. We saw a lot of aggression for the high ground in these previous matches. Will we see a repeat of that? Are these players going to try once again? Swizzy Vanyak being one of the duos that played for it in the most recent match. No success for that victory royale just yet, but this could be the one.
Yeah, Kiddo and Nebs, all that loot. They just picked up a big elimination onto Teeny, leaving Chap by himself. And we can see how that elimination came to fruition. Just a huge crash pad sneak attack. They box Teeny up. Don't even give a saving chance for Chap to make there.
Now just 7 seconds left until this moving zone starts to close. It did pull northwest, so it's going to go through the red line rig. A lot of these players now have to decide what's their game plan. For Chap, though, he's lost his duo partner, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, especially with that whole team. They spot you out. They see you're a solo trying to farm up scraps. Say, hey, this guy must be weak. Let's try to get in the box. Whether he dodges this fight or the next, 43 below the damage threshold means he has to start to get a little proactive late in this game to try to survive. There's not that many people that do need to go down overall, but it will be zone after zone that he has to try to survive here. No opportunities given just yet. And now that he has to rotate zone on his back, it's going to get even harder and more risky, but he found a quick drop onto Cammy, misses that opportunity, and now he has to try again.
Unfortunately, was not able to get the box. Cammy's now escaped. Chap, though, still has a decent amount of materials. All he's missing is that little bit of damage. And even though he connected the shotgun shot, still 87 below. Pressure's on him now. Eyes on him as he's forced to pop a cola.
And falling further below that threshold. But if you look at the sky, Swizzy, Vanya, Snazy, Podesai, even Nebs and Kiddo are waiting for that opportunity to jump forward. We've seen these high grounds battle all day long today so far and yesterday, where sometimes they wait for the 11th zone, that perfect opportunity where they think their opponent is out of mats to try to take charge. Vanyak and Swizzy, they see it coming every opportunity. Podesai launching himself through the sky. They get a couple of quick shots, but nothing to start to feel confident on as the zone moves on over and they connect once more to that high ground.
You can't be too safe on height. We've seen what's happened in the previous matches. Swizzy Vanyak are going to try and hold on, but 11th zone is when retakes can't happen. Chap has done an amazing job so far as playing it out as a solo. Every single moving zone, he has not had his duo. 3 eliminations already picked up, 31 builds left, but he gets cracked. This could be the end.
Yeah, Emil's just waiting in the corner. Nice opportunity there, but he does have 55 on the Flowberry Fizz. He does have a decent amount of build to work as a solo, but zone is on his back. He can't take too many ticks. He don't have a chance to replenish any of that HP, and with pressure from above, he's scrambling around. Malibuka and Mustache, they're just trying to bull rush their way through these builds, not necessarily for the elimination, but just to overtake people on position. Mustache goes down. He gets lost along the way. Now Malibuka once again feeling that pressure as a solo.
Another one added to the list as we look down in the sand. It's Snazy, it's Podesai. Incredible amount of eliminations, confidence from this duo, but they just have to close it out. Jerry goes down. Giro's now left alone. Can Snazy and Podesai clean this one up?
We've seen duos make wonders happen from the low ground, especially if they're able to stay healthy. They have the materials, and they quickly run through a lot of these teams. Snazy's claiming space along with Podesai to the front side of zone. That gives them a chance to look back if they so choose, and everybody else on that mid layer is going at it with two players at the top of the world right now, Swizzy and Vanyak. Nothing to worry about at all. They have the 3 med kits, clear-cut win condition in their inventory. They just got to play this one out.
They're so high up, I don't think you can get there even with the crash pad. So now it comes down to what's going to happen on the low ground. We know there's a full duo down below. The players that are slowly going to run out of materials are going to come crashing down and fight Podesai and Snazy. But in the meantime, Swizzy and Vanyak have free reigning from above to apply that pressure. I don't know who's going to take it home, Jacob. It's going to be close.
Yeah, there's 3 solos running around, -1 as Podesai gets an elimination. Him and Swizzy are so weak. They need the time to get the medkits. Zone is forcing them in. They run out of builds and they run out of time. And there goes another elimination. Absolute necessity to gather those materials. Podesai is typing in, and now it comes down to a 2v2. High ground versus low ground, and the inevitable is going to happen as Swizzy drops down low, trying to play Disruptor. Great shot on the Podesai, forcing Snazy in the zone, starting his heal off just a little bit early. Whoa. The first knock is going to come in. Swizzy is just trying to go ahead and get as many of these materials out of his way as he finally makes that last dash, gets cut just a little bit short, and now it's Snazy and Vanyak. Who has more heals? Who has more med kits? So far, there's 2 more for Vanyak. On the other side, he just ran clear out. Snazy runs out of time. Vanyak and Swizzy, the major 2 champions, do it again. They advance to the grand finals.
I was waiting for this to happen. I thought it was going to be day 1, but day 2 is when Swizzy and Vanyak take it home. Unfortunately, the duo on low ground did not have enough time. They played the heal off a little too early, and the freedom of height not being contested by 3 other duos is what granted them that golden ticket.
Yeah, they ran out of builds there. Snazy and Podesai on the low ground the last moments. They weren't able to continue to claim space like they wanted, which allowed Swizzy to drop down freely, get the first of 2 eliminations, and luckily they didn't have heals on the other side, because that would have been a close one otherwise.
What I love to see are these returning duos. The chemistry built between these players are what's leading them to the victories in these matches. I believe every single match except for 1 has been taken home by a returning duo. So we'll see if that trend continues right after this short break. See you soon.